Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders fan base has been living through what feels like a never-ending storm this season. 7 games in, and it already feels like the team has endured a full year's worth of chaos, heartbreak, and frustration. Every time supporters start to find a shred of optimism, something seems to drag them right back down to earth. The latest twist in this roller coaster saga came during Week 7 against the Dallas Cowboys when Jayden Daniels, the dynamic rookie quarterback who has been the heartbeat of this franchise, left the game with a hamstring injury. You could almost hear the collective groan ripple through the stands and across social media. The Commanders' offense, already struggling to find consistency, suddenly lost its engine, and everyone in Washington knew this could change the entire complexion of their season. When Daniels limped off and disappeared into the locker room, the air seemed to leave the stadium. There's something about seeing your franchise quarterback walk away mid-game that instantly creates panic, especially when it's a player like Jayden, electric, fearless, and the kind of leader who has brought genuine excitement back to the Capitol. Early reports that he was questionable to return gave fans a tiny sliver of hope, but when he didn't come back after halftime, reality began to sink in. Later, word spread that he was scheduled for an MRI, the kind of phrase no fan ever wants to hear attached to their young superstar. Washington supporters, used to the franchise's history of unfortunate injury luck, braced themselves for the worst. As if the Commanders didn't already have enough on their plate, the injury bug hit even harder elsewhere. Defensive end Dorrance Armstrong Jr., who was having a breakout year and was easily one of the brightest spots on the team, suffered a season-ending knee injury. That was a gut punch of the highest order. Armstrong's energy, explosiveness, and sheer determination were exactly what this defense needed, and now, suddenly, he's done for the year. Losing him means losing one of the few players who consistently brought pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Without Armstrong, Washington looked flat on defense against Dallas. No real push up front, no intimidation, no spark. And with the Cowboys' offense rolling, that absence was felt in every snap. So, you could say things were looking grim for Washington, and that might still be an understatement. The Commanders were already teetering on the edge of collapse, staring down a brutal stretch of games, including a primetime matchup against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 8. And right when it seemed like the fan base was about to sink into full-blown despair, a little bit of light managed to break through the clouds. Head coach Dan Quinn stepped up to the podium on Monday and delivered the first piece of genuinely positive news in weeks. Jayden Daniels' hamstring injury, according to tests, was not long-term. That's right. No tear, no season-ending nightmare, no talk of months on the sidelines. Just a strain, something the medical staff believes can heal relatively quickly. For Commanders fans, that update was like an unexpected breath of fresh air after being trapped underwater. You could feel the collective exhale across Washington. People might not have been dancing in the streets, but relief? Yeah, that was real. The thought of losing Daniels for the year was unbearable, not just because of what he brings on the field, but because of what he represents off it. In a season that's felt like an avalanche of bad luck, Daniels has been the one constant symbol of hope, the player who makes fans believe that maybe, just maybe, this team is finally building something worth watching. Still, optimism comes with a side of caution. Dan Quinn made it clear that while the injury wasn't serious, it was still too early to tell whether Daniels would be ready for that Week 8 showdown against Kansas City. The team plans to take things slow. They're not going to risk aggravating the hamstring just to chase one win, even if that win could change the momentum of their season. Quinn revealed that Daniels actually wanted to go back in during the Cowboys game, fueled by adrenaline and that relentless competitive fire that makes him such a compelling player. But the coaching staff made the smart call, shutting him down before things could get worse. They know they're dealing with their franchise cornerstone here, and a hamstring injury is the kind of thing that can turn ugly if you rush it. So now, the team's next few practices will tell the real story. Daniels' participation, or lack thereof, will be the biggest storyline in Washington all week. If he's out there throwing, moving around, maybe taking limited reps, that's a good sign. But if he's standing on the sideline in a hoodie, that likely means Marcus Mariota will be taking the snaps under center come Monday Night Football. Mariota, the seasoned veteran, has been here before. He's the kind of quarterback who can manage a game, keep things steady, maybe even surprise a few people. But let's be real, he's not Jayden Daniels. The Commanders' offense is built around Jayden's dual-threat abilities, his ability to stretch the field vertically and make defenses panic with his legs. Without him, this offense loses its identity. That's what makes the potential absence so concerning. Washington's receiving core has been banged up, the offensive line has been inconsistent, and the run game has been a mystery all season. You take away Daniels' mobility and creativity, and suddenly, the Commanders look like a completely different team, one that defenses can scheme for without losing sleep. Facing Mahomes and the Chiefs at Arrowhead, in front of that roaring Kansas City crowd, is tough under the best of circumstances. Doing it without your star quarterback? That's a whole different level of challenge. If Daniels can't suit up, a 3-5 record at the midpoint of the season feels almost inevitable. But let's talk about the bigger picture here, because this whole saga isn't just about one injury or one game. It's about what this team has become and where it's heading. The Commanders entered the year with playoff ambitions. New leadership, fresh energy, young talent. All the ingredients were there for a turnaround story. Yet, somewhere between the close losses, the injury list, and the defensive inconsistencies, things have gone sideways. Every week feels like a fight just to stay relevant in a brutal NFC East. And through it all, Jayden Daniels has been the one reason fans have continued to show up, tune in, and believe. Losing him, even temporarily, shakes the foundation of that hope. Still, there's something to be said for how Daniels has handled all of this. Even as a rookie, his maturity has been off the charts. The guy has faced pressure from every angle, from defensive linemen trying to crush him to media pundits dissecting every throw, and he's never flinched. You can see why the locker room rallies around him. When Quinn mentioned that Daniels was begging to go back into the game, it wasn't about ego or recklessness. It was about heart. That's what leaders do. They want to fight for their teammates, no matter the pain. The coaching staff just had to be the adults in the room and say, not this time. Washington's fan base knows that story all too well. They've seen the franchise push players back too soon in the past, only for things to end in disaster. Not this time. This time, they have to think long-term. Jayden Daniels isn't just the present. He's the future. Taking 1 week off to make sure he's right for the next 10 years? That's the smart play. And honestly, that's the kind of organizational discipline Commanders fans have been begging to see for years. So, as the team preps for the Chiefs, there's a strange mix of emotions floating around Washington. Anxiety, yes, because no one knows if Daniels will be ready. Frustration, obviously, because another key player went down in Armstrong. But also, a faint flicker of hope, because for once, it feels like the worst-case scenario didn't come true. Daniels' hamstring is healing. His season isn't over. And that alone feels like a small victory in a season that desperately needed one. Make no mistake, the Commanders are still in a tough spot. The road ahead is brutal, the injuries are piling up, and the margin for error is microscopic. But with Jayden Daniels, everything just feels a little more possible. He's the kind of player who makes a city believe again. And even if he has to sit out one game, fans know he'll come back hungry, stronger, and ready to remind everyone why Washington put its faith in him. Because when Daniels is healthy and locked in, this team has a heartbeat. And right now, that heartbeat is exactly what the Commanders and their fans need to keep going. At the end of the day, that's the story here. Not just another injury update, not just another headline in a season of chaos, but a reminder that hope still exists in Washington. The Commanders may be battered, bruised, and walking through fire, but as long as Jayden Daniels' future remains bright, the flame of belief refuses to go out. And in a season like this, that's something worth holding on to. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. It's official, or at least, that's the buzz shaking the NFL world right now. CeeDee Lamb, the electrifying wide receiver who made Cowboys fans go absolutely wild week after week, is reportedly heading to the Washington Commanders. Yes, you heard that right. The very same CeeDee Lamb who's been the centerpiece of Dallas offense. The guy who can turn a simple slant route into a highlight reel touchdown in the blink of an eye, is now being linked with the burgundy and gold. The rumor mill started turning faster than a quarterback spiral when initial whispers hinted that negotiations between Lamb's camp and the Commanders had been heating up behind closed doors, and now, sources close to the situation are basically confirming what everyone suspected. CD might just be suiting up for a whole new city next season. And you can bet this is sending shockwaves across the league, not just because of his talent, but because of what this could mean for both franchises. Cowboys fans are already in a frenzy, and you can almost hear the collective gasp from Texas to wherever Cowboy fans gather online. Lamb has been more than a wide receiver. He's been a symbol of hope, a highlight machine, a player who could carry the weight of a team on his shoulders and still make it look effortless. The thought of him lining up in burgundy and gold instead of the familiar navy and silver is, for some, almost unthinkable. But here's the thing about the NFL. It's a business, it's fluid, and stars like CD Lamb have options, leverage, and a career that demands they think about their legacies in ways beyond a single franchise's immediate glory. The Commanders, meanwhile, are reportedly thrilled, envisioning a revamped offense where Lamb becomes the centerpiece that could redefine their aerial attack. The potential chemistry with their quarterback, the matchups against divisional rivals, and the ripple effect on the NFC East suddenly makes Washington a team nobody will want to sleep on next season. Imagine it. CD Lamb running crisp routes against a new set of defenses, his trademark explosiveness catching defenders off guard, now with a team that's been itching for a legitimate star to elevate their offense. Rumor has it that the Commanders' front office pulled out all the stops, offering a package that not only makes financial sense, but also positions Lamb as the undisputed go-to guy in Washington. The whispers suggest incentives, performance bonuses, and leadership roles that make this move almost irresistible. Some insiders are saying this isn't just about Lamb catching passes. It's about him shaping the identity of a team that has struggled to find a consistent identity in recent years. And the media is buzzing with comparisons, hypotheticals, and debates. Will Lamb's presence push the Commanders into playoff contention? Could this be the spark that turns Washington into a powerhouse in the NFC? Or is this a gamble that might not pay off in the long run? The speculation alone is driving fans and analysts into late-night Twitter spirals, dissecting every possible scenario. The Cowboys, on the other hand, are reportedly in a state of cautious optimism, or perhaps a mix of resignation and pragmatism. Losing a player of Lamb's caliber is never easy, and you can almost see the wheels turning behind the scenes as they consider how to retool their offense without him. Some are saying this might open opportunities for younger receivers to step up, while others argue that Dallas might struggle to maintain its offensive identity without their star wideout. Rumors are swirling about potential replacements, trade targets, or draft moves that could fill the void, but one thing is clear. Replacing Lamb is easier said than done. The Cowboys have built a system around his unique skill set, and now they're facing the task of reinventing their attack while keeping fans engaged, optimistic, and willing to trust the process. Meanwhile, Lamb himself remains an enigmatic figure in the midst of all this chatter. Social media is ablaze with speculation, from cryptic posts to old game highlights resurfacing, fueling the narrative that the move is both inevitable and groundbreaking. And let's not forget the ripple effect across the league. The NFC East suddenly feels like a chessboard mid-game. Giants, Eagles, and Cowboys fans are all recalculating their expectations. Lamb's rumored move doesn't just shift talent. It shifts the competitive balance, the weekly matchups, the psychological edge. Analysts are already theorizing how his presence could change game plans, affect defensive schemes, and even influence coaching strategies. Could Washington now dominate divisional rivals in ways they haven't for years? Could this spark a new era where CD Lamb is not just a star, but a defining figure in one of the league's most historic franchises? Every rumor, every leak, every behind-the-scenes tidbit adds fuel to the fire, and the NFL rumor mill thrives on exactly this kind of tantalizing uncertainty. Insiders hint that Lamb's deal, if fully finalized, would not only make him one of the highest-paid wide receivers in the league, but also put him in a position to leave an indelible mark on the Commanders' history. Washington fans, who have been starved for highlight reel moments and marquee playmakers, can't help but dream of what it would look like to see Lamb breaking free down the sideline, juking defenders, and catching bombs in crucial moments. The The speculation alone is enough to light up fan forums, YouTube comment sections, and social media feeds, with highlights from his Dallas days being dissected and projected onto what could soon be Washington's offensive playbook. Rumors are flying about jersey sales, marketing campaigns, and how the organization plans to capitalize on the arrival of a player who doesn't just catch passes, he creates moments. Lamb's personality, his leadership on and off the field, and his marketability are all part of the equation that makes this potential move more than just a football transaction. It's a full-blown cultural shift for a franchise hungry for relevance. There's even chatter that this move could set a precedent for future free agent stars considering Washington. If Lamb is willing to bet on the Commanders and embrace the challenge of elevating a team, who else might follow? The NFL landscape is, after all, as much about perception as it is about talent. One marquee signing can create a domino effect, shifting the balance of power and drawing more high-profile players into a franchise's orbit. Lamb's rumored signing is being treated like one of those seismic events, one that fans, analysts, and rival teams will study and react to for months. Every practice report, preseason game, and training camp highlight could suddenly carry enormous significance. The narrative is building, the speculation is intensifying, and the entire league seems to be holding its breath for the official confirmation that everyone seems to be waiting for. Meanwhile, social media is at peak chaos. Cowboys fans are debating, some mourning, some rationalizing, while Commanders fans are erupting in anticipation. Memes, polls, and hypothetical highlight reels dominate the conversation. Analysts on TV are breaking down potential offensive schemes, projecting yardage totals, and simulating games that feature Lamb as the centerpiece. The rumor, whether fully true or slightly exaggerated, has already taken on a life of its own, feeding discussions from sports bars in Dallas to podcasts in Washington. And in the midst of it all, CeeDee Lamb remains the common denominator, the player whose talent, charisma, and potential impact is generating more chatter than nearly any other NFL story this season. The anticipation is palpable, and every passing day only adds to the intensity of the rumor. Could this be the start of a new dynasty in Washington, or just another high-profile story that fuels off-season speculation? Only time will tell, but one thing is undeniable. CeeDee Lamb heading to the Commanders, official or otherwise, is shaking the very foundations of the league. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.